Nigeria records 276 COVID-19 new cases. Nigerians in IDP camps struggle to meet anti-coronavirus measures. In international news, Brazil records world's second highest number of COVID-19 cases. And in sport, Shenzhen dangles 180 million naira a week contract as Man United set to agree on new salary with Igalo.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Nigeria's COVID-19 total death toll has risen to 249 as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) recorded 16 more fatalities on Tuesday. NCDC also confirmed 276 new cases. This brings to 8,344 the country's total confirmed COVID-19 cases. The agency announced in a tweet on its official handle the new cases were recorded in 15 states. Lagos carries the brunt of the virus with 161 cases. 14 other states shed the rest of the new cases. Many residents of Lagos would have expected a flattening of the curve in the number of cases in the state, but the numbers have been fluctuating every day. So far, Nigeria has tested 46,306 samples. The agency says more than 2,000 COVID-19 patients have recovered. Nigeria has rejected the World Health Organization's directive to suspend trials for chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine for the treatment of COVID-19 patients because of safety concerns. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, says there were data to prove that hydroxychloroquine worked for many COVID-19 patients. NAFDAC Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye says Nigeria will continue its early clinical trials. Adeyeye says the country will continue to believe in hydroxychloroquine's efficacy until medical doctors, research scientists, pharmacists, herbal experts work together to conclude the clinical trials in the next 4 months. Lagos State Health Commissioner Professor Akin Abayomi had earlier said the state had concluded plans to roll out hydroxychloroquine trials for possible prevention and treatment of COVID-19. Many Nigerians have been afraid that if not properly managed, internally displaced persons camps in the country could become COVID-19 flashpoints because of the high concentration of persons in poor health care there. Correspondent Kelechi Emekalam visited one of those IDP camps and filed this report.
For the past 2.5 years, this IDP camp has been home to Amina Tella and her 8 children. Amina and many others have been forced to live in crowded and unhygienic conditions due to Boko Haram's insurgency. No less than 11 people live in a small space like this. Sometimes they could be even more. This increases the risk of spreading the coronavirus.
That coronavirus, we've been hearing about it. They educated us on how to stay safe by always washing and sanitizing our hands, the use of face masks, maintaining social distance, even in tricycle. They taught us some of the symptoms of the disease like fever, coughing, and difficulty in breathing. We pray to God to protect us from this coronavirus. I use face mask that was given to us. When I get to the shop, we try as much as possible to maintain social distance.
Camp officials and humanitarian organizations have been stepping up to enlighten IDPs on the pandemic. In addition to general personal hygiene, they've introduced temperature checks and have banned group gatherings.
Managing the feeding and then maintaining social distance is not a problem in refugee camp. When the food is brought to the camp and taken to our office, a token is being shared to the IDPs. Persons of concern. From the range of 1 to 50 or 1 to 100, the token has been distributed to them, and then I or any of my officials called out the name, like numbers given to them, like number 1, they will come forward. wash their hands with soap and water, sanitize their hand, and then the food will be given to them. So in terms of the food distribution, we are just fine. There is no problem at all. We don't have to queue they don't have to queue to collect food.
But observing social distancing is difficult in crowded areas like this. Aid has been insufficient for vulnerable communities, and sanitary supplies too are limited. So many IDPs like Amina are hoping they'll be able to return to their original homes soon.
If I'm given the chance, I'll leave the camp because it is not my home. Everybody loves their comfort. If they could allow us to return to a village at Doronbaga, we'll be very happy because we are more relaxed and comfortable there. Our husbands will return to their farmlands.
The COVID-19 pandemic has already spread to the northeastern states. Vulnerable groups here are at a higher risk of contracting the virus. With the poor healthcare situation in the region, preventing a spread in IDP camps remain a priority for state authorities and camp officials.
Christian Association of Nigeria and the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has started discussions in their different quarters on guidelines to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in worship centers once they reopen. Both religious groups say the guidelines will be submitted to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control for review once completed. The NSCIA says a committee is presently working on the guidelines, while the Christian Association of Nigeria has scheduled a virtual meeting for a proposal of its own set of proposed guidelines. Public Transport Owners Association of Nigeria has already submitted to the NCDC guidelines to reopen interstate transportation. The nation's 36 governors will hold their 9th teleconference meeting to discuss President Muhammadu Buhari's bid to grant financial autonomy to states' judiciary and legislature, codenamed Executive Order 10/2020. President Buhari recently signed the executive order into law, which mandates the Accountant General of the Federation to deduct all amounts due from source into the coffers of the state legislatures and judiciaries. The governors will also discuss the restructuring of state loans and the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee deductions. Coming up, African stories. Kenya sends security officers to clear 50-kilometer traffic jam at Malabar border with Uganda. And later, international news. Brazil records world's second highest number of COVID-19 cases.
You are watching ANN. Somewhere in the world, every second of the day, news is happening. And of course, Nigeria is bustling with news day and night. That is why ANN doesn't sleep. Our eyes are peeled, wide open, so no story escapes our radar. We stay abreast of world events and happenings at home. We keep you up to the minute in the world of sports. We give you information to stay on top of your investments and all the hard facts you need to navigate your day. If you miss us on air, you can keep up to date on our website and on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. We are ANN, Africa News Network. We do news right in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. The Kenyan government has deployed a contingent of security officers to secure its Malabar border with Uganda following a blockade by truck drivers. The truck drivers had used their vehicles to block the road and create a 50-kilometer traffic jam. The drivers had also deflated their truck tires to protest against what they claim was mistreatment by Ugandan authorities.
The free flow of vehicles from Bungoma to Malabar across the border. One thing I want to assure Kenyans that we should be open this border. The unlocking has already started, or 5 or 10 vehicles have gone, and others will be moving on. And we urge all the drivers and owners of vehicles to remove the vehicles from the roads. The road is not a parking place. This road is not a parking place.
The drivers had been lamenting that they were being subjected to harsh conditions when they crossed to Uganda, even after they had complied with the COVID-19 regulations of the East Africa Community Protocol. The trucks have been parked along the border for almost a week now, paralyzing free movement of trucks into and out of Kenya through the border. Uganda was on target to carry out several infrastructural development projects before COVID-19 hit Wuhan and spread even to Uganda itself. The projects have had to be delayed because China, which is working with Uganda on the project, had shifted attention to its own COVID-19 problems and supply chains have been shut off. Hilary Asiga has the details.
Uganda is upgrading its road infrastructure, and China is playing a key role in the development. But the COVID-19 pandemic is slowing down the process. Key supplies needed to run the projects are not coming in as required.
Oil is coming from Kenya. If Kenya has slowed down, so that means now the fuel is not coming on time. Also, is a second challenge. The third challenge is like Hima Cement, one of my major partner in cement sector, because for them, President directive that all the company, if you want to continue work, you have to campaign the worker. So that's why also the production has been slowed down.
Road contractors are also concerned about the weakening local currency.
We lost some money during this COVID-19. The first loss comes from the exchange rate, because now the exchange rate has depreciated during this lockdown.
Machinery from China is often exported to African countries. But the recent port and border closures stemming from the coronavirus measures are limiting access. This 2-kilometer road was due to be completed within 3 years. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, contractors are planning to postpone the completion of the project. Like other countries, Uganda is concentrating its resources towards efforts to combat COVID-19. This means several infrastructure projects are running low on money.
The other challenge they're facing is the issue of financing. Of course, they have to. Most of them have the Chinese banks to be the one to give them the financing. So they can't do the back and forth to go and do their documentation. So that has also slowed them down.
However, the Uganda government is hopeful that the infrastructure development projects will soon pick up pace as major economies, including China, begin to ease their lockdowns.
Jumping into taxi cabs in South Africa now comes with new sets of health measures. The taxi industry in the country has stepped up COVID-19 precautions to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Correspondent Julie Schuer has the story.
Taxis aren't the safest mode of transport in South Africa, but they're the cheapest and most popular. The industry is doing all it can to keep passengers and drivers safe from COVID-19. Wearing masks and hand cleaning is compulsory. Sanitizing booths are now being included to boost protection.
It's a simple technology that does not require a lot of things. You don't even stand inside, you just walk through slowly and it immediately disinfects you. It is very necessary to put this precaution in place because we want to flatten the curve first of all. And this big rank like this one, these are the big hubs rank where a lot of people, they interchange. You know, they're coming from townships.
This is the new reality for thousands of taxi rank passengers being sanitized from tip to toe, all in the hope to curb the spread of the virus.
I feel very safe because the taxi industry is actually following the rules and the regulations of the COVID-19. The government is putting pressure on them. That is why everywhere you go, you see there's booth there's sanitizers, there's everything.
I think it's a good one. They should do it even in deep slot, in these rural areas. They should try using it everywhere. So in deep slot, we just sanitize our hands. We need to get something like this. That will be much safer.
Other precautions include driver screenings and regular disinfecting of vehicles and ranks.
We've been cleaning the rank thoroughly and make sure that the rank is clean, and also disinfecting the vehicle itself, inside and outside. And we've also educated our drivers and queue marshal that inside the vehicle where there's handles, they must carry on disinfecting the handles of the vehicles, and inside the taxis.
In general, taxi drivers are in danger of transporting people every day. It's so overwhelming. If we can all follow the precautions that we've been given by our leaders. Wear your mask, leave the house only if you have to for essential stuff. And then maybe we can be able to go back to our normal life sooner than later.
Millions are expected to be on the move again as restrictions ease in June. The industry is hoping measures taken will prevent further infections.
When we return, international news. Brazil records world's second highest number of COVID-19 cases. And later, sport. San Juan Danga's 180 million naira a week contract has Man United set to agree on new salary with Igalo.
You are watching ANN.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Brazil is grappling with a severe hit by coronavirus that has now made it the second highest infected country in the world, behind the United States. The country has confirmed nearly 400,000 cases with more than 24,000 deaths. A new study by researchers at Washington University suggests the numbers could increase fivefold over the next month. Paulo Cabra has the story.
The COVID-19 infection curve still pointing upward here in Brazil right now. Now this country has the second largest number of people infected in the world, only after the United States. And also, according to figures released on Monday, there is more people dying every day of COVID-19 here in Brazil than anywhere in the world. So much concern in this country, not only because of the spread of the disease, the spread of the pandemic, but also in terms of the capacity of the public health system in Brazil to respond to it. In several states of the country, the system is already nearing collapse, and even here in the state of São Paulo, the richest in Brazil, the public health system is already stretched thin, with over 90% of capacity already occupied in public hospitals in the city of São Paulo.
Now to the U.S. that hosts the plague for the most COVID-19 infected nation in the world. The number of coronavirus cases there has reached nearly 1.7 million. It is expected the death toll would cross the 100,000 mark in just a few more hours. With these grim statistics and rising tolls, many states are gradually easing COVID-19 restrictions and reopening their economies. Health experts say this poses risk of a second wave or second peak of infections. Americans flocked to the beaches on Memorial Day this past weekend, many of them not following social distancing guidelines, and many were not wearing masks. Local media in various states, including Florida, California, and Missouri, showed footages of people crowding beaches and lakeside bars. Police had to disperse some gatherings deemed unsafe. Meanwhile, the New York Stock Exchange partially reopened its trading floor on Tuesday after a 2-month closure for the COVID-19 pandemic. Governor Andrew Cuomo rang the opening bell. The partial reopening is set to bring back only about 80 floor brokers, representing about a quarter of the trading floor population. They will have to observe safety measures like wearing masks and maintaining physical distancing in the exchange. As parts of Europe take tentative steps out of lockdown, a trip to the beach now involves a few additional extras: face mask, disinfectant and social distancing. Italy has now reopened its beaches as well, and local beachgoers are returning to find out much has changed. Hermione Kitson reports from Pescara.
The sought-after shores of the Adriatic coast, usually already covered with umbrellas, but this is a season like no other.
I would never have imagined a summer like this. We hope that every day is a better day and gives us more freedom.
Sisters Maria and Laura grew up at this Pescara beach club. They say after months of lockdown, late is better than never.
We are ready to live in the open air safely. Considering how the virus evolves, obviously there will be measures that will correspond.
10 square meters must be dedicated to each beach umbrella. That equates to around 4 people who must respect social distancing unless in the same family. Masks must be worn when not swimming, and group activities are banned.
It will be a summer full of difficulty because the rules to ensure safety are very restrictive. We hope the clients respect them.
A sentiment shared by residents.
Hopefully the rules are followed.
We still have to be careful.
But just which rules apply differ between the regions.
But we are trying to make common rules, from Emilia-Romagna in the north to Puglia in the south.
There was a delay on behalf of the government. The beach club still didn't know all the rules. It's a pity because there will already be 70% less tourism here.
A figure it's hoped could improve as the season continues. The key difficulty this summer will be keeping track of beachgoers. Some of the proposals being considered include booking apps and electronic tagging.
There is a lot of system at the moment we are thinking of. We are just waiting the last moment because basically the situation is still confused.
Italy will reopen its borders on the 3rd of June to travellers within Europe.
I hope they return, both foreigners and Italians. The sea unites us, so we wait.
Everyone needs a bit of sunshine now.
An important message as Italy takes more crucial steps in its COVID recovery.
Up next, sport. Saint-Ouen dangles 180 million naira a week contract as Man United set to agree on new salary with Igalo. Please stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow this story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. We bring you what's making headlines. We connect you with news you can use. ANN, African News Network, in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News in Sport. From all indications, Odion Igalo is currently struggling with a good problem. One might say he's right now between the devil and the deep blue sea. Igalo has been offered a 2-year contract extension by his parent club, Shanghai Shenhua, for 180 million naira every week. Sky Sports also reports English club Newcastle United are also showing interest in him, with Manchester United also ready to sign him to a new contract. His Manchester United loan due ends in 6 days, which was the agreed length when the Red Devils signed him in January. Former coach of the Pharaohs of Egypt, Hector Cooper, is disappointed about the fact Gennett Rowe will still be in charge of the Super Eagles. Cooper says he was ready to take the job should the NFF let go of Rowe. Franco-German Gennett Rowe is on the verge of signing a new 2-year contract after weeks of negotiations with the NFF. That is ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a pleasant evening.